grasp profound Dharma on fields of disciples just as needed. May whatever virtue that I've here gathered bring benefit to all beings and doctrine, and may it make venerable Tsongkhapa's essential teachings specially shine forever. Mig mei tse wei te chen chen rei zig, dream mei ken bei wang po jam pel yang, du bu ma lu zhong zhe song wei dang, gan chen ke bei song gen song kapa, do song jia bei shab la so wa de. O glorious and precious root Guru, pray take seat of lotus on my crown, caring for me with your great kindness. Bestow attainments of body, speech, and mind. O glorious and precious root Guru, pray take seat of lotus at my heart, caring for me with your great kindness. Bestow attainments common and supreme. O glorious and precious root Guru, pray take seat of lotus at my heart, caring for me with your great kindness, until supreme awakening remains steadfast. Homage to the exalted three jewels. Thus have I heard at one time the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriha on Vulture Mountain, together with a great assembly of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of the countless aspects of phenomena called profound illumination. At that very time, the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, was looking perfectly at the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, perfectly looking at the emptiness of inherent existence of the five aggregates also. Then, through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said to the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, how should a child of lineage trained who wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom? Thus he spoke, and the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, replied to the Venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, whichever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look perfectly like this, subsequently looking perfectly and correctly at the emptiness of inherent existence of the five aggregates also. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra lists all phenomena are empty, without characteristics, that is, they are not produced and do not cease. They have no defilement and no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visible form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object of touch, no mental phenomenon. There is no I element and so forth up to no mind element, up to no element of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance, no cessation of ignorance, and so forth up to no aging and death, and no cessation of aging and death. Likewise, there is no suffering, no origin, no cessation, no path, no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide in the perfection of wisdom, and because their minds have no obstructions, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond error, they attain the final state beyond sorrow. All the Buddhas who reside in the three times by relying upon the perfection of wisdom become manifest and complete Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal to the unequaled mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, since it is not false, should be known as the truth. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Tayata gate per som gate bodhisoha. Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva, a great being, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and said to the superior Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, Well said, O child of the lineage, so it is. The profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced exactly as you've taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the Superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, and the entire assembly, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods, gods, and others, were filled with admiration and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. In the holy supreme abode of the Dakinis, possessed of clairvoyance and miraculous power, unwaveringly caring for practitioners as your children, homage to the host of the freely places Dakinis. Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Soha. Through the power of the truth of the exalted three-jewel speech, may all on the side of negativity such as four Maras be stopped. May they become non-existent. May they be pacified. All enemies, obstructors, and hindrances, Shante Kure Soha. The 80,000 types of obstructions pacified, free from adverse, harmful condition. May all be conducive and perfect auspiciousness, bring happiness and well-being here right now. Saji Purki Junshi Me Tong Changri Ragling Ji Ni Te Gem Padi Sangye Singdu Ni Te Uwa Yidro Unam Nag Zila Chupasho Je Tsulga Dangpa Kenam Yishukukala Kyense Trindrine Jitat Sampe Duje Zima Laza Yechugi Chapa Waktu So Idam Guru Ramandala Kalam Diryatayame Shodang Chokye Chonam La Jantu Badu Dagni Kyapsuchi Dagi Chunyam Gi Pesonam Gi Drola Penche Sangye Dropa Sho Shodang Chokye Chonam La Jantu Badu Dagni Kyapsuchi Dagi Chunyam Gi Pesonam Gi Drola Penche Sangye Dropa Sho Shodang Chokye Chonam La Jantu Badu Dagni Kyapsuchi Dagi Chunyam Gi Pesonam Gi Drola Penche Sangye Dropa Sho.
Good evening. We got good rest last week. What's the rest? How is it? Rest. 30. Oh, rest. Okay. Anyway, we have very good teachings last week with Rinpoche. One hand, we are very fortunate. Fortunate, unfortunate, what's the difference? Fortunate. Okay. We are very fortunate to receive the teaching, even the, of course, His Holiness the Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Also the Garden Triva, is the throne holder, the Lama Tsongkhapa. He's the really world-known Rinpoche. We get a chance to teaching from him for also the Nagarjuna text, most precious teaching. Although also Nagarjuna the current Hindi Sujisana. Pioneer. After Buddha's teaching, then also like Buddha's teaching degenerate. Then Nagarjuna came. He buying it, right? Pioneer. Hindi Sujisana. Pioneer. Pioneers. That's correct? Therefore, it's very, the Nagarjuna is the most, knowledgeable about for the Madhyamaka way, or the emptiness. Therefore, we receive the teaching from Garden Triva. One is, you guys, unfortunate person. You have to listen to my talk. Okay, the better than nothing. Like that. Anyway, even the like emptiness, even you heard, even you have little doubt, is humongous merit. Then we say, I'm thinking, it's meditation, emptiness. I create the humongous merit. What happened? Still have a lot of problems. But we create more than that negative karmas every day. Negative karmas means you don't have to do big things, right? Just thinking, talking, even you just lay down your place, you watch news, you can create a lot of negative karmas. They were very easy to create the negative karma. We try to create the positive karma much as we can, but we have very thick negative karma. Therefore, it's not easy we can see or we can experience for the positive actions. Otherwise, Buddha says, Sunam Dembe me Sambandam. He said, if the person has more merit, he or she, what their wishes become. Does it make sense?
What they wish to become.
True, come true. Sunam Dembe, they do not said miss. I can translate my directly. Then who has more merit, also they can become happy, peace, relax. They purify all negative things, sufferings. Therefore we create them positive karma a lot, but we have very thick negative karma. It's not easy to show up. Okay? Now I think we're going to do a little bit of meditation for bodhicitta. Are you guys meditating bodhicitta? Yes, right? Sometimes. The bodhicitta is bodhicitta and understanding emptiness, they go together. We call wisdom and method. Tapdan hirap. In order to produce the baby, we need to father and mother's, how you call it?
Oh, the white and red.
Yeah, the
Egg and sperm.
yeah, like that. Therefore, in order to achieve enlightenment, we need to method and wisdom. The wisdom destroys the wrong views, wrong thoughts, wrong beliefs. And the method, wisdom method, also method develop for you, be kind, like compassion, bodhicitta, loving kindness, like that. Okay? Okay, we will try to do 5 minutes to Shamba kama kashiskum. Niji shamba, niji kama kashiskum. And tene shamba kama kashiskum. And tene shancho kama kashiskum kinas.
We're going to meditate on the loving kindness for a few minutes, then on compassion for a few minutes, then on bodhicitta for a few minutes.
Then if you're comfortable, you just, I always say, you just say, I wish all sentient beings free from suffering. You don't have much really strong feeling. If you're comfortable, with visualization in front of you, if you have experienced or you saw some very, very gross suffering, any beings, you go to shopping malls, you went to any markets, you watch TV. First, try to remember or visualization that kind, very gross. Manifesto suffering. Okay? If you're not comfortable, that just I wish to all mothers and children free from suffering. You just think about that. Okay? Okay, start now. Just first you, just be relaxed. Few very deep breaths, couple times. Then visualization, very strong manifest solving any beings you remember from you. When you find that, I wish to their being free from their suffering. Okay. Now change the subject. Again, visualization. Very happy any beings. You see or you remember, you see any like family members or someone with they meet the teacher, any kind, very happiest person, very happiest beings. If like animals, they play outside, like they chase each other, try to fun like that. Now, think about that kind of beings. I wish to never ever separate the happy, peace, feeling their being. I wish they never ever separate that happy feeling, peace feeling, relaxed feeling, their joy feeling. Okay.
So the first one is meditating on compassion, and the second one is meditating on love. So after that, now we're going to meditate on superior intention. And so that kind of the work of eradicating the sufferings and bringing the happiness, should be done by myself alone. So taking the responsibility upon oneself to do that. So that's called the superior thought or superior intention. And that is the substantial cause of the bodhicitta. And so you just meditated on loving kindness and compassion, right? So the compassion is where you focus on a sentient being who is going through suffering. If you can think of a being who is going through, like manifesting suffering, then it will be good, it will be stronger. so that you will have a strong wish wanting them to be free from suffering. So that's compassion. And then you also thought about beings, with happiness, right? And so someone who's happy, so wishing that person to be happy and never to be separated from that happiness, and that's called love. And so now meditate on superior intention for a few minutes, thinking that kind of work, of bringing the happiness for sentient beings and eradicating their suffering, should be done by myself.
Okay, start now. Okay. That dijila sususanu itangures. And in some cheta dumanda trasangal at the trial Nipayamandu. They were the Dembachegusna, they are Nipayamandu, Manataran, Michio, they were the Dembachetumandu, Michio Dumada Travachetu Mores.
And so following that meditation, now think, although I wish, to bring happiness to all sentient beings, but right now I don't have power or potential, power to even bring one single sentient being, to the state of happiness. And although I wish, to eradicate the suffering of all sentient beings, but right now I don't even have the power to even eradicate the suffering of one single sentient being. And then now think, who has that power? What kind of being has that power to eradicate the sufferings and to bring the happiness?
And that is a joint concept.
And so only a fully enlightened being, who is free of all the faults and who possesses all the excellent qualities. And so if one becomes fully enlightened being like that, then one will have the power to do that.
What is that? That
and so now I should, or I must achieve state of full enlightenment, a state that is free of all the faults and possesses all the excellent qualities, in order to eradicate all the sufferings of all sentient beings and to bring every single sentient being into the state of everlasting happiness. For the everlasting happiness, so generate that thought. So that's called bodhicitta.
Okay. What did I say down that Sancho Sam's the coaching to some down any Sam's career was the boys at the Yadomara conscious Sancho Sam's some Hibashi.
So that thought, wishing to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of sentient being is called bodhicitta. So there is many, of course, debate about bodhicitta being a primary mind or secondary mind and so forth, but that's not necessary to think about right here. It's just a thought, wishing to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Okay. And
so at first, when you develop that thought, that's called the wishing bodhicitta. And then there's also engaging bodhicitta.
Tendida, and Tanda Nozopena Tendi, some Chadari, Sanjo Compa Tokundu, Toma Yabondo, some of the members of Goms Lagres.
And so that thought, wanting to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, is called wishing bodhicitta.
That Tendi, the Tobiaga Cheda, and Susu Gomjawa, and Lojon Chea, Jambatoma, Tatumsum, Zoba Kumbala Somali, and Jupashes.
And so with that thought, when you engage in the practice of meditating on loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, or emptiness, or any practice you do, so that time of the bodhicitta becomes engaging bodhicitta. And so, not just wishing to achieve enlightenment for the benefit also, but actually generating that thought of bodhicitta, is called bodhicitta. It's engaging bodhicitta.
Okay, the time on the and some gentlemen do on the Tayagi, Nipaya Mundu, Devana, Nipaya Mundu, Tasulaina, and you say you that good on the Sanji Komatoba in the Tendu, Tendeza Tanga, some gentlemen Devana, Dembata, Dunata, Tendigi, Cheta, Tangaranga, Sanji Komatogo, something like that, Tendigi, something to some church in the song, they would tell us of some gums.
So now, like I explained, generate the thought, thinking that right now I don't have put a power to even eradicate the suffering of even one single sentient being, or to bring even one sentient being to the everlasting happiness. So only being who has that power is a fully enlightened being. So in order to eradicate the suffering of all sentient beings and to bring every sentient being to the everlasting happiness, I must achieve state of full enlightenment. So keep your mind on that thought for as long as possible.
Okay? Okay, now we start. Few minutes, okay? Okay, that's good enough. Do you have any feeling, any questions?
I have a question about the difference between wishing bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta. So wishing is the thought, and engaging is the practice. Is that?
또 된다 그러와. 멤버스 지대에 또 제고도 삼배지. 공로 저러와. 제고도 삼선데. 배나 뺑대 저러면 로와다 단 로와네스 배나. 대가 배나 추소는 로고도 삼배 제가 레고에 레가 제사에 걸라. 로고도 삼배 걸라야. 그노대로 와 된다 그래. 삼지탄에 산적 공부 토고도 삼마로. 다들 토요일 제대 내가 제자로. 대란 주바세 제세. 저런데 용어를 쳤다 아니 못하게 되밀래야 다지 잘라 돌로거야 다 남번의 용어잖아. 오늘 대란 배대단 주바지 배샤워레스. 당분 로고도 삼을 끊어줘야 대란 매바세 지 배샤워레스.
말했다. 가상화도 빼라. 강아 상기 고고도 삼을 때는 차 사회나.
or short
The 차사에게 somebody 차사에게 차사에는 somebody 여기 somebody 저러다 상기에게 somebody 저러 들어주고 생각하면 뭐죠 차사 그런 생각 주고 생각하라
차사도 그렇고 자원도 어려워 근데 그 내가 전에 그거도 괜히 아니 차사에 차사가 무슨 이유로
어디라
어디 때문에 아니 메바티라 그래서
아니 그 차사 그런도 상기가
차사 그런 메바티라 말
So usually, when we talk about wishing bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta, we compare with example of wishing to go and going. When you say, "Oh, I must go to center," and then you actually go, like get into a car, drive your car, and go to the center. So when you are going to the center, you still have that thought wanting to go to center, but that thought is conjoined with the action of like actually going there now. So that's called that's just like engaging bodhicitta. So not the driving itself. So like you say I must achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all seniors. That's just wishing bodhicitta. So in order to achieve that, I'm going to do a prostration. Make a prostration. I'm going to make prostration. So when you do the prostration itself is just the action. The thought conjoined with that action, the motivation for doing that action is the engaging bodhicitta. So wishing bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta will not arise at the same time. So when you have the wish, and then with that wish, when you engage in action, then that becomes engaging bodhicitta.
Is it possible for non-bodhisattva to have engaging bodhicitta?
So so non-bodhisattva will have only the artificial bodhicitta. It's not the genuine bodhicitta. Genuine bodhicitta is only when you become bodhisattva. So before that, you have to have the renunciation, the actual renunciation, wishing to be free from cyclic existence. And so, but we should also strive to generate, even if it is artificial bodhicitta. So if you keep on taking that, keep on generating that, like when we take initiations, we always take the bodhisattva vows and then we generate that mind. It's not an actual bodhicitta, that's an artificial bodhicitta. So just like that, if we keep on meditating and generating that thought again and again, then that will progress to become the genuine bodhicitta. So that thought at the beginning, you're just creating that thought in your mind, and then you develop it, try to develop that. Then if you keep on developing that thought, then actually, eventually you will generate the actual or the genuine thought or the bodhicitta. And so before you can generate bodhicitta, you have to have that superior intention, which is taking the responsibility upon oneself to eradicate all the sufferings and bring all sentient beings to the happiness. And then before that, you should have the loving kindness and compassion. So even if you have renunciation and a bodhicitta, but if you have not realized emptiness, then you will not be able to achieve enlightenment. So just like it is said in the three principal aspects of the path, even if one has generated bodhicitta and renunciation, will not be able to cut the root of the cyclism. Therefore, strive in realizing the dependent origination. So maybe when you are told to or asked to meditate on bodhicitta, you might be wondering, how do you meditate on bodhicitta? Maybe you already know and you're already meditating on it. And so even though we've been hearing this all the time, and been studying for many years, But we may still wonder, right? What is bodhicitta and what kind of way of meditating is called meditating on bodhicitta? So bodhicitta is just a state of mind, right? It's a way of thinking. So just like it is said in Gratitude Buddhist way of life about the wishing bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta, it's like wishing to go and going. Yeah? So when you have the wish to achieve enlightenment, that's the bodhicitta, the wishing bodhicitta. And then when that wish or when that thought is conjoined with the action, and then that becomes engaging bodhicitta.
Okay?
So now you understood, right, how to meditate on bodhicitta? What do you have to think on when you meditate on bodhicitta?
Everyone got it? Yes.
Well, by your action, I think it's not actually doing something physically, but it can be, actually could just be meditating on.
It's not necessarily meditation. Not necessarily. Gom jujago marro.
Gom jona digoras.
Gom
chawal ju maras.
Gom dogo chawal jugidari. Gom jona reidari.
Yeah, so you're engaging in the mental action, not the physical action, but the mental action, yes.
You know, and then the something they can is about pashi to in courage and
and so with that thought, right, with the wish to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, whatever practice you engage in, and then that becomes engaging bodhicitta. Like if you engage in the practice of generosity, morality, effort, patience, and so forth, the 6 perfections, and that becomes engaging bodhicitta. So right now you had that thought, right? Well, in order to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, I should meditate on bodhicitta. I should meditate on bodhicitta, right?
There's something to do.
That thought, wanting to achieve, wanting to engage or wanting to meditate on bodhicitta, and that thought wishing to, wanting to achieve, meditate on bodhicitta in order to generate bodhicitta. So when you're actually meditating on it, right? So when you meditate, even if it's a bodhicitta, you're meditating on, with the wish to achieve enlightenment for the benefits, you meditate on bodhicitta. And so I must generate, the genuine bodhicitta in my mind stream. And so then you meditate on bodhicitta. So that action of meditating on bodhicitta with a wish to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings becomes engaging bodhicitta. And so the wishing to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings is general bodhicitta, right? So when that is not conjoined with the action, any kind of action or practice, then it is wishing bodhicitta. But when that is conjoined with any kind of practice of like 6 perfections and so forth, then it becomes engaging bodhicitta.
Okay, that's your chance.
Clear now?
It's clear now? Okay. 도시 공잡다 이 내내는 공잡다 때는 나도 좋아대 이제만 로래 때는 로에서래.
So yeah, so meditate in that way, and definitely you will see some transformation. I'm not saying I'm transformed myself, but I'm saying if we meditate in that way, then we'll definitely see the transformation. So like I said, genuine bodhicitta is really difficult. You have to go through all these stages, and definitely hard to generate it. But even if just having that artificial or just some experience of bodhicitta, it helps a lot. When you are going through some difficulties or facing some difficulties, then when you think about that helps to solve your problems.
Okay. 나도 단다 마마 체겠다. 우리 정도 곰네 마마 체 때려도 또 쇼치는 야보다고 또 선바 부수도 못도 방고가 나셔요.
So some people also when they say meditate, they meditate on on the breath, like exhaling and inhaling of the breath. That also, of course, is good because at that time you're kind of not thinking about the problem. You're just not thinking about the problem, right? You're focusing on this object, on the breath, and so you're not thinking about the problem, so you don't, experience the problem at that time. So like the 4 close placement meditations, it's very famous in this country, right? People do this a lot.
Mind training.
Mindfulness.
Mindfulness. Somebody shook you and they can something and they must have this something like cool. There's some Shiba Liga Park, Kosanako, somewhere, Shiba Park Gokuro was.
So you're kind of like deceiving your mind, right? If you're thinking about the problem, then you go through the problem, you experience the problem. But if you're not thinking about it, you're taking the mind away from the problem object and then putting it on other object, right? So that time you're kind of deceiving your mind by not thinking about that problem. But you haven't solved the problem. The problem is still there. It's just that your mind is not thinking about it, and you took the mind away from that and put it on some other object. So, more you spend the time putting your mind away from the problem, and then better it will be, right? So slowly, because you spend so much time on this, you slowly forget about the problem.
Okay? 소소 대화 쇼나서는 샤샤sem 공고래. 젠심들 대화 쇼나는 셈셈 샤샤sem 공고래스. 어디를 빼셔들어요?
So just like it is said in the Guide to the Buddhist Way of Life that bodhicitta is very important. So if you wish to eradicate the suffering of other beings, you need bodhicitta. If you wish to eradicate the suffering of your own, you need bodhicitta. If you want to bring happiness for others, you need bodhicitta. If you want to bring happiness for yourself, you need bodhicitta.
나도 참좀 공자제 초월 결례도 왔어. 샤좀 삼도 샴바다 니제다 처음 마다바나 레전드다 지금 코에 님이다 신이도 겁나 참도 초월 결례도 해.
So when you're meditating on bodhicitta or loving kindness, compassion, superior intention, or remembering the kindness of all sentient beings, or recognizing all sentient beings as your mother, when you meditate on those, do you get any feelings in your mind?
So
if you get a bad feeling, or unhappy feeling, at that time, then you should stop it. And if you get too excited about it, then also you should stop it at that time.
Okay. What they do is in the Canada, come to the Japan Pay. Some of Something want to talk about the new so much in the co.
So it's good, good to meditate, sometime like that, and especially if you get some good feelings, then that's good. Otherwise, if you just sit there, with your eyes closed and no feeling, then there's not much use.
Okay, yes.
So, would you recommend that sequence that we meditated in, where you would start with compassion, meditating on some gross suffering, and then meditating on loving kindness, and then meditating on bodhicitta?
Superior intention.
Or superior intention.
닝제다 내내 장반인 당부 닝제고 때다라 동화 다 동화 모수 용에데 내가 심제들에서 참고나는 동화가 대 동화다 다다다 삼박이니 닝제고 안테제라 장바고 안데 때네 가슴 거들에 때네 정신 거버려서 온다데 다 림바트 마선 데려서
말로나 맛이 진짜 주소
요 장바
요 장바 당부 장바 때네 닝제 때네 낙선 때네 장접 삼리 장바는 게래도.
So usually, of course, the sevenfold cause and effect instruction, you start to recognize all sentient beings as your mother. And so once you understand all sentient beings as your mother, and then you can it will be easy to think about their kindness. Right? So how they've been very kind to you, and then you can develop a wish to repay their kindness. And then how to repay their kindness? The best way is by by bringing them happiness, and then by eradicating all their sufferings. and then then you take the response. So in that sequence, first you meditate on loving kindness, and then compassion, and then you say, oh, I myself will do that for them, bring them happiness and get rid of all their sufferings. And so you develop that thought. And then you say, oh, I don't have that potential. Who has? Buddha has it. So therefore, I must become Buddha for the benefit of this thing. Then that's the bodhicitta. That's the sequence.
Okay?
One other question. You said if you start to feel bad during the meditation, you should stop. But what if when you're meditating on compassion, you just feel sad? Can you keep?
대대한 잠도 소소 스마 맞지 받치는 전나 양한테 잠전에 양아래. 잠좀 몇가지 되게
가서 기도로 다 상황.
소소 기도문도 왔어. 기도는 되게 그래. 되게 소소나 양치 가고 스마 맞지와 양 강의로 맞는 건 되게 되는. 나도 마치 양한테 내지기도 와.
Yeah, so I mean, if you become so sad that you start to cry, and I mean, if it's too overwhelming for you, then maybe you should stop. But of course, you know how much you can take. So take as much. So if it comes to the level where it will cause harm to you, then you better stop it. Of course, otherwise you can think about it, and then more you get the feeling of the sad, thinking about the suffering, that much more compassion you will have, right? So of course you should have that more. But if you are not at that level, it will be tough, so it might become bad for you. So then if you're not, you have to check it yourself and see if it is too much for you, then you should stop there.
Okay? Yes, ma'am. You forgot. It's okay. Okay, 다들 이제 된다 요즘에까지 상주고 좀 꼰대오른 잠좀 대송 가서 나도 좀 마무 체지 오늘 다 모르는 가르치고 하는 것들이 용어도 왔어. 어떤 일이 되게 그랬어.
Yeah, so we've been studying a lot about bodhicitta, but then sometimes how do you apply that into meditation? And so that's why I thought maybe we'll just go through this practice a little bit.
Okay? 근데 다 나눠지 된다. 근데 다 가서는 소설 많이 다 때문에 또 받아 다 모내지네. 다 상지 좀 된다. 아니 동반이 댄스를 거네. 아니 때배다 또 발라나면 봐. 뭐도 빼셔야 돼 말이야.
And now we're going to go to our actual text, which is in praise of dependent origination. So this text, is praising Buddha Shakyamuni for teaching dependent origination.
Okay? 아니 다 또봐 잡아대 아니 레신이 보셔야 돼 말이야. 당연히 레신이 뭐.
So there is extensive praise, which is called the eloquent speech, of interpretive and definitive meaning.
아니 다 또봐 뒤뒤 아니 대녀와 최녀와 아니 가로 대마와 최녀와 다단다 아니 때리 또봐 대서와.
And so this is the brief praise, which has less words but greater meaning. It's called in praise of dependent origination.
다 가상원도 되게 쇼로코도 숨지 소송된 것도 전서 봐. 대 디나라 아니 개바 안에 다 산지 좀 된데 저랑기 에너지 가로 다송 그거는 모두 저랑기 아니 고소도 좀 얘네도 아니 샘라지 아니 잼바다 아니 샘라 하고라도 콘지 마이나 다 나는 감도성 이제는 심다 감도성 샘티니 지켜라 대바체가 누구세요? 걸로 좀 선발했어.
좀 소송돼.
좀 소송도 천선만 봐. 그건 로살.
다들 쉐드 심선을.
되게 소식된다.
그래.
소송도 되나 말했어. 에몽케바는 이제 잡을 건데 주제 봐. 대세 끈그 코네는 kel라지지 김어지를 딱 샘티니 딱 세근하게 저랑 대바체가 누구세요? 좀
And then, so last time I think we stopped at verse 33, right? So, when the wise comprehend the differences between these two, why would they not at that point revere you from the depth of their beings?
다 데려가도 숨지 소주 같은 마음 속에 다 데려 마음 속에 참말라 아니 다 사실 좀 된데 소라 때네 그러고 지금 다 타와도 틀린 적 없고 뭐도 얘네 대마도 안에 내가라 이거 봐야 지금 손그 차시 때 그래 갖고 왔나 되게야 아니 삼다 대화적인 거 세로로.
And then in verse 34, it's kind of saying that if you go through the teaching, the whole teaching of the Buddha, definitely, it will bring you to the state of liberation or enlightenment. But even if you are not able to go through the whole teaching, but just like even a fraction of the teaching, will bring great bliss of the higher rebirth and so forth. So let's read that together. Let alone your numerous teachings, even in the meaning of the small part, those who find ascertainment is a cursory way. This brings the supreme bliss to them as well. Yeah, so numerous teachings, right? So all this, a great number of teachings, let alone those, but even like small part of the teaching brings a supreme bliss to the sentient beings. And so even if you don't have the genuine understanding, but even if you have just like, a belief, so a kind of a small belief in the teachings of the Buddha, and then that brings great happiness to you.
Okay?
So when you talk about the supreme bliss, that is usually happening to the happiness of liberation or the happiness of full enlightenment. And so in the verse 35 and below, a few verses, a little bit kind of Lama Tsongkhapa expresses a little bit of sadness, unhappy. And so this is in the verse 35 and 36, so let's recite those two verses. Alas, my mind was defeated by ignorance, though I have sought refuge for a long time in such an embodiment of excellence.
I possess not a fraction of its qualities. Nonetheless,
before the stream of this life, flowing towards death, has come to cease, that I have found slight faith in you. Even this, I think, is fortunate.
Mariba Drumne. Anytime Niba Kunjiga, any Tawa Mariba, Dobe Tamchi Tsu, any Tenji Samu Chutamba, so any Sanji Tamji by Chijin, little bit yet in Momo, only somebody, the Yeribu Shinia, and Charangibena, Jerumuja Konaka, Matachi, Tambone, and Janala, just someone there, and Tinigi to another half coil Chedaya, some Mumbo Tamayens. And
so it's like, alas, my mind was defeated by ignorance. So it's like saying that mind is controlled and influenced by the ignorance, right? And so with that, even though I took refuge for a long time in the great qualities of the Buddha's teachings, but then it says that I possess not a fraction of his qualities. So because of ignorance, right? Because of being defeated by ignorance, I couldn't even achieve a fraction of his qualities. So just like that, we're all defeated by ignorance, right?
아니 tenjiyanta ibada 아니 지 타바다 tenjaba 아니 토야기 탑라나면 텐데서 모래 나도 텐데게 텐데서 모래 토야기 나도 탑시 너무 제거를 나도 또 탑시 제거하나 아니 나도 딱 고아도는 뭐도 얘기고 말해.
And so the method or the means to achieve liberation and enlightenment is the dependent origination, right? The realization of dependent origination. And so we know that, and then we try all our means or in many different ways, to realize that. But we couldn't even get, a fraction of the realization of that dependent origination.
아니 말해서 지금 타와다 터져 잡아 타와 아니 선지 좀 된다고 지금 아니 다 손도 오늘 지금 된다 또야 지금 꼼바 친다다는 건 깔리 자기 오래 이다 있나 가서 차시를 또 도고 말이.
So in order to realize the dependent origination and to understand the meaning of all those Buddha's teachings, and even though we strive, work so hard, but we couldn't even get a fraction of these qualities.
지금 가서 제가 지나서 깔리 자기도 오늘 님가 내가도 공단대요. 아니 좋겠대요. 깔리 뭐 자기 오래.
You work hard, right? And you go to work in the daytime, and you come here in the evening, and you come here in the morning. So you work really hard.
아니 지는 보시겠다. 뭐라 그런가 까마바를 붙어지던데 괜히 드파니 딱 내가 마두고 받아야. 아니 산지 좀 된데 지금 고성투기 이해돼서 간다. 산지 좀 된데 가다 손업게 들어서 하고야 지금 깔리 뭐 잡아 있어. 이나 체시에도 또 마음 세도로.
So this is what Lama Tsongkhapa is saying, that from the time he took ordination, from, of course, Kama Borobudoji, till he wrote this text here. And he said he's been studying, for a long time with, great austerity, but until now he has not, realized even a fraction of his qualities. So just like that, we are also working hard, right? We're still working hard, to study, to meditate, and so forth, but couldn't get the actual understanding of the teaching, right? And so they're saying that if you read, you will not get the words. You will not. If you try to memorize, you will not be able to remember the word. If you try to meditate, you will not understand the meaning. So we become like that. Is it like that? So even though we try to memorize, we couldn't remember the words. So even though we tried to meditate on the meaning, but we couldn't get the realization. So that's because of ignorance, right? So do you guys meditate? Memorize? Do you memorize the words, prayers? But it's not easy to memorize, right? Can you remember the words?
It takes a lot of work.
Okay.
Do you meditate? Do you try to meditate? So there's the four imaginables, right? After the refuge and bodhicitta, you recite the four imaginables. How many of you know by heart?
Memorize. Anyone?
Yeah, four imaginables.
Good. 아니 뒤에다 손가락이 왔어.
조금도는
You can read very fast, you can read.
You have memorized, right? In the tune. But if you were to remember, if you were to recite quickly, can you recite?
Okay, go ahead. Oh, good. That's really good. Then how about the Kurukulla Lama Zopa? Was making it fast? Very wonderful. You know the last week
I want to hear that. Lama Zopa Kurukulla. Can you recite it fast?
It's actually much easier if you do it with the tune. It's so much easier if you do it with the tune than you just say it with words.
Yeah.
So the ones we do it fast, I think are easier to memorize because we have the tunes we have.
Yeah.
Because we always recite the tune, right? So we memorize the tune. So when you read in the tune, then we can remember. But when you have to go straight, then you don't. Then you have to think,
It's very hard.
First think in the tune and then say.
Last week there were the Tibetan orders, we recite the Tara. Usually the Tibetans recite Tara very fast. We found one Tara prayer in the online, the tune. We recite that the old ladies, the guys, they They don't know what's going on. They move out, they always write very fast. Now you go to tune, they cannot read, they cannot say. Yeah, it's changed. It's good, you guys good, but they cannot lose some to us.
So you have memorized the words, right? Do you meditate on the meaning?
Yes, right. I think you get it right.
You do.
Sometimes.
You do think about it. I mean, some of it sinks in.
Therefore, yes. That's how to get away. Can I do that? And that's why.
Honestly, some days are better than others.
Yeah.
Sometimes you find that it's, you feel like there's...
Well, you meditate, right? In some way you meditate, either.
There's some more, I mean, in mindfulness, sometimes there's more clarity and sometimes it's like, oh boy.
Yeah. But anyway, you attempt to meditate on those meanings, right? On the meaning of the four imaginables. But Geshe's question is, have you generated the realization? Even if you have meditated so much, right, for a long time, have you generated the realization?
Yeah, like that now. This happened. When I cannot say that, Nabi Chu, the Takoro, Jani Yiribusha Chaya Mare. In I cannot say Nabi Chu and Java, the Tadabaja locally should Jari.
So many of you haven't met Buddhism for a long time, but from the time you met it, you've been studying very hard until now, right?
Then dinner soon was Jiribushika. Any, Roa? 아니 산지 좀 된데 아니 나랑가 뭐배운가 산지 좀 된데 아니 구속도 얘네 됐다 주주간에 소문 못 나와예 얘나 소가 차시를 뭐 하고 나서 무스러워.
So that's what Lama Zopa was saying here, right? From the time like he took refuge, the first the monk ordination, from his guru, he'd been contemplating, meditating. Studying about all the excellent qualities of the holy body, holy mind, holy speech of the Buddha, but until now, not even a fraction of it he understood. And so that kind of feeling discouraged, right? Is like, and then the 36 is kind of encouraging. Right?
Okay, that is all the one.
Nonetheless. And so nonetheless, before the stream of this life flowing towards the death has come to cease, that I have found slight faith in you, right? Even this, I think, is fortunate. So, even from this time until one dies, when I have been able to have some faith in the teachings. So even the small faith that one has in the teaching, it's very fortunate. So right now we're not dead, right? We're going to die anyway. We're going to die, but right now we're alive, right? So we're born, and then we're still alive, and we haven't come to the end.
Lama Zopa Rinpoche, Lama
And so, of course, we're not dead now. So, until we die, in between that time, we have had this opportunity, to study the Buddha's teachings, the incredible teachings of the Buddha, right? And also, have met with these incredible gurus who are like a second to the Buddha, like His Holiness Lama Zopa Rinpoche, Rinpoche, and so forth. So, having met them and having this opportunity to study, even if it's a little bit, during that time, when still alive, is very fortunate.
그래 단지 생기는 내가 뭐도 실탄로 될 때는 나도 이제 맞아 맞아 요래스 생기 받을 때는 효과가 받을 한국에 생수이 아빠기요래.
And so there's two understandings, right? The first verse, verse 35, kind of puts us down, our pride, puts down our pride. And then the third, the next verse, which is 36, kind of gives us a hope.
Okay? 대단 간도 레다 까와세데 메와이나 가는 것 같이 간도 용거 말때네 레다 까와세데 요와나 아니지 텔라팜나 나도들이 냠매치야 로조시야 그거 용거도 와.
So if we don't have the karma and the fortune, then of course we won't be able to do that. But if we have, somehow created some karma or some fortune, good action, and then and when that meets, to the with the right condition, we'll have that opportunity to do the practice or study, right?
Okay? 다 들어드네 생식 맞춰야지 생식이 빠이니 용도 와.
So here from these two verses, there's a discouragement and encouragement also, right?
장소가 빼셔봐나 장소배나 쇼치니 깨가 강해 요리. 니니 빼셔더라 뭐라 강해 요리. 손니 뒤져가 강해 요리 와.
And so in your case, you have many difficulties to study these, right? So there's difficulty of language, and then the difficulties of finding the right material, like the textbooks, and then also you have difficulties now finding time to do this study and practice.
내 파전에 비밀이 잡아도 아니라고 제와야나 아니 고도라 깨가 강해 요 말에. 아니 된리다 고 로조나가 나요다 아니 뒤져가 강해 요 말와.
And so if you are born as a monk or nun in like Tibetan monastery or nunnery, and then you're free from all these difficulties, right? You don't have the difficulties of the language, so because you speak the same language, and you don't have difficulties of the time, because you are devoted your life to the practice, so you don't have to go to work and to do other things. You have plenty of time to do practice, so you don't have that difficulty. And so that's unfortunate, right? So not being born as that is unfortunate.
옛날에 단단한 소소 마시면 빨아야 오늘 지금 딱지 아니 산지 좀 된다고야 아니 줄이야 대화지 같은 맞아요. 남이 전후 준익이 아니 슐라 로조 제시 와대 아니 내게야 딱 나서고 지금 쇼치니 아니 지금 산지가 때문에 못 할수 lumbe는데 쉬어줘도 가서 뭐래
And then also, but on the other hand, even though you're not born, even though you have those difficulties, but still you are able to meet with these great teachers, right? And have faith in the Buddha's teachings, and have the opportunity to study all these texts, composed by the great masters like the two excellence and six ornaments, like Nagarjuna, Asanga, and so forth. And so having that opportunity to even though study a little bit, is very fortunate. Is it like that?
And 장소야 이거는 전에 던지 만족스잖아요. 던지 좀 보셔라 이도와.
So again, if you think about the facility or the favorable condition, you do have favorable condition to do the practice studies, right? And so that is also a result of your previous karma, previous life's good karma.
Today is and caro nami million bochi tati million cheser tati galon bochi shamayad matomosochi yore.
So just like it is said that because of your precious human rebirth in the past, you have a precious human rebirth now. So now the precious bhikshu don't fall into the cliff of the lower realms. So right now you have the person, but don't waste it. Don't waste it and throw your next life into the cliff of the lower realms.
Okay. 어두 제 파티 가가 자야도 왔어. 다 되니 자쇼로간 좀 속되는 마카르소나 단디 죽대 와서 돼 말이었어. 진짜 죽대 와서 돼. 다 파도도 지와 있는 가를 해서 많이 나세.
And then, so this is in the verse 37, right? The next verse is kind of the conclusion, like in conclusion or in short, what is it?
다 주준도 내려와. 땡비 나나 땡비 또 받은 시험 나나 땡비 시반이. 지대도나 자유 온보지 보조 레버 체제 신진 문스
And so let's read this one here. So among teachers, the teacher of dependent origination. Amongst wisdom, the knowledge of dependent origination. You who are most excellent like the kings in the world, know this perfectly well, not others.
다 주던가 시다다 주던은 남으로 뭐예요 와서 아니 주던은 남으로 또 뭐예요 아니 다 피하라 다 가지 주던을 뭐예요 와서 얘나 때서 더는 야쇼도 그러나 주던면은 아니 때렸다 봐도 때리기 주던만 때 아니 주던 때쇼 또 때로 야쇼들이
So there are many teachers, I said, among teachers, and there are many kind of teachers teaching many different things. So the one who teaches the dependent origination is the best of the teachers.
다 나중에 주시베라네 다 시다만 남으로 뭐예요 본바시바 까와시바 사시바 통시바 로시바 막에와치 하고들 시다 뭐예요 얘나야 티나네가 시베나네 아니지 뭐 또만이 가로 시베나네 주시베나네 땡데 시바데 땡데 시바데 아니 시베가나네 다 시바 야쇼데레스 샤랍 야쇼데레스.
And then amongst the wisdoms, the wisdom means knowledge, right? Knowing, right? So you know many things. I mean, there's many different things you can know, right? Knowing how to eat, knowing how to sleep, knowing how to walk, knowing how to cook, and knowing how to do and drive and so forth. All these are knowledge, right? So the knowledge among all the wisdom amongst all the wisdom or knowledge, the knowledge of dependent origination is the best.
데리다단 지든 엔지 감도나 안에 따이 감도나 안에 뉴몬바나 시질 뉴몬발레 뉴몬베 달레 제비 아니 따 제우 온보 또 안에 까니 남진 촉 안에 산지 냐치레 산지 제가 주모레스.
And then it says, you who are most excellent like the king in this world, know this perfectly well, not others. So only Buddha, it's referring to the Buddha, so only Buddha know this perfectly well, not others.
데리다 안에 포도쇼 말에 다 캐라레 사지 요 말에스 다 캐라 주보고 데리된 쳔바라 마도 제 스치게 된 제가 말에스 뭐.
And so you are the only fabulous one. And so no one else knows this so well.
뭐가? 근데 노르도 보이나 노르 야 가이바 두아 가이바 노르 중에다 노르 랭게도 시게도 와서 심바시 신 말와.
So just like a person, a jeweler, jewelry, right? So a person who deals with the jewelers knows about the jewels very well, not others.
데리다 까니님이 좀 선절을 좀 들어가게 와서 데리다 까만이 전이는지 아니 야쇼도 자쇼도 산제레스.
And so it says in the text sometimes it says like two-legged ones, right? The two-legged ones. And among the two-legged, so that's referring to the human beings, right? With the two legs. Among the two-legged ones, the most supreme, the highest one, is the Buddha.
데리다 추때바다 추시바니나 아니 텐데 뜸바다 텐데 시바니데 다 야쇼데 아니 데니 라지요 말에 텐데데 수하고나 산지 좀 되게 저런 때 말마다 제 스치기 때니 뭐 말에스.
So among the teachers and among the wisdom, so among the knowledge, right? So so what do you teach and what you know? Yeah? So if you teach the dependent origination and if you know the dependent origination, then that is the best. So it says that only Buddha, you teach the dependent origination and you know the dependent origination, not others, not other teachers. So is that true? Because there are many religions in this world, right? Is there any other teachers who talk who teaches dependent origination or emptiness other than Buddha? So usually the loving kindness or compassion or like the abandoning the 10 non-virtuous action, that's contained in many religions, right?
신이 때에 똥에다 오차래 때에 신에다 오차래 다 데려서 요 말다 전화심이 요 말에서 다도 너도 배워는 데려서 하는 거지.
So in short, so you are the one who teaches dependent origination and you are the one who knows dependent origination, no one else.
Okay? 들으래. 저도 들어요.
Is that true? Do you have any question about that?
들으다 산지 좀는데 지만 봐 도도도 전화 아니 야수데 와다테네까지 아니 파 에지 때가 야수가 가나 텐데데레스 시야 야수가 가나 아니 텐데시 바데레스.
So in short, what is best to teach, is the dependent origination. What is best to know, is the dependent origination.
Okay? 이거 밖에 가르세나 아니 텐데세디 아니 하고와이나 아니 동반이 하고 동이 하고와이나 아니 지금도 나도 말이 봐 아니 미시베 um바도 가가 세로요라와.
So that's because if you understand dependent origination, you will understand emptiness. And if you understand emptiness, then you'll be able to eliminate all those, the ignorance, the self-grasping ignorance and so forth.
그래서 나도 동아 차선 땡에도 아니 나도 말이 봐들래. 나도 말이 봐디 님보 아니 때딱 땡데 동반이 동바들래. 그래서 다때 나도 뱀베데 내가 첨보자가 되어서와.
So all the sufferings comes from the self-grasping ignorance. So the only antidote for self-grasping ignorance, to overcome the self-grasping ignorance, is dependent origination or emptiness. So therefore, understanding the dependent origination or emptiness is very important.
Okay.
So dependent origination, you have to have some understanding. So what is dependent origination? So it says it does not exist truly because it's dependent origination. So the dependent origination is the best reason to prove the emptiness. So the things appear truly, things appear as existing truly to us. Do we realize that? Do we realize that things appear as existing truly to us? Yeah, unless you think about it, right?
Yeah.
So if you really think about the dependent origination, then you will not find anything solid. Like usually we say, oh, this is solid enemy, this is solid and a friend, like that. Dependent origination, you will not have that feeling. So usually, we have this different feeling towards different people, right? Someone who will feel like bad, that we consider as enemy. Someone who we feel good in, you will consider that as a friend, and someone who don't have feeling, then stranger, like.
So
if you have the understanding of a good understanding of dependent origination and emptiness, then you will not have that kind of feeling. Everybody will appear. Everybody will appear like a friend.
Okay.
So there isn't anything that is not dependent origination. So everything is dependent origination, dependent originator. So they all depend on each other, something.
Okay?
So usually we don't think that way, right? We don't think that way. But if we, strive, to think, slowly, we will have better understanding about dependent origination, and then we'll come to realize, we'll gain the realization of that. Then, then there will be no problems. All the problems will be solved. Is it like that? So, but you have to investigate yourself also, not just believing in Buddha. Oh, of course, Buddha said that, but not just believing that Buddha said that, and you have to believe that it's not like that. It's time to investigate whether it's really like that or not.
Okay.
So just not just believing in Buddha, Buddha said like that, but also investigating within oneself whether it's really like that or not. So Buddha has clearly said it. This is like this is not like that, and so forth. So but the scientists are not able to say this is like this is like for sure. So right now, at this time, at this modern time, people all believe in scientists, right? So when the scientist says something, they all get surprised. So they have, like stepped on two, on the two places, saying, "Oh, this is like that," but we don't know if it's going to be like that in the future. Is it like that? So it keeps changing, right? Things keep changing. Although they say it's like this now, but then it changes, and then it becomes different than what they think now. So they're like having two, the food in two places. So about 2,500 years ago, Buddha already decided, says this is how it is, this is how it's not, like that.
Okay?
You think it's like that?
Okay? What is it? The Sanji Jumbe Chirangi Sonji Mana Pemato Chia Mares and
And then verse 38, kind of saying that.
I don't know what is it?
Some so good.
What is it?
So 38, says that as long as it's teaching by Buddha, there isn't anything that's not beneficial.
The beneficial and the Sanji Jumbe Chirangi Sonji by Yena, and it's Tawa Trijaba. So
what it is saying is that as long as it is Buddha's teaching, it will be beneficial. It will be beneficial to achieve liberation or enlightenment. So there isn't any teaching of the Buddha that is not beneficial to achieve enlightenment or liberation.
Kala Yonari, Kandala, Kawana Kanji, Tamin Rosati, Kujansuna Chagures, Chapasa Chundusati. Then I just Sunday Chungi the Gani touch. And it's just don't choose from a generation of Katsava, Tanju, Divana, Nisan, Jibigone, energy, and it's that Tilian Tadaji, Ninila, Samne, and the Janam, Tawa, the treasure of Komatoyagi, said in Jupajanja is.
So it is saying that like all those streams of the rivers, that flow down through the mountains, they all end up in the ocean. So they all are in the ocean. So it's just like that. All the teachings that Buddha taught, it's 84,000 heaps of doctrine, right? All of those are all means, to understand the dependent origination, and then through that eventually to achieve a liberation and enlightenment.
Okay. Then that's something you don't know should be cheddar, maybe in Zaba. Maybe cheddar move on my way, and it changes from car your mother's.
So there is so there isn't any teaching of the Buddha that doesn't, become beneficial for one to achieve liberation or enlightenment. So that's what it says. Let's read this, verse 38. All that you have taught proceeds by way of dependent origination. That too is done for the sake of nirvana. You have no deeds that do not bring peace.
Okay? Then go to the
Easy to understand, right?
Well, can you send it to me the channel to Soji by now? Need some Jepigone, any Dejade Tamba, the Tujapatoga, any Sambu Yumupa, Mayagi, and the Tashi Mangi, your mother is.
And so whatever you have taught, either directly or indirectly, it becomes, a cause, for sentient beings to achieve liberation or enlightenment.
Okay? Okay,
the next verse 39.
And the team of the Sanji Jumbo, the Chanagi, and the Ching Karo, a look at them, but Nigani, and my Chiji Temba, look at them, and the same Shimba, Amjolo Koi in a young, until they were Tigris,
And then in verse 39, it's saying that all the teachings, especially the scriptural teachings of the Buddha, and even if someone were to hear them with their ears, and then they will generate faith in the Buddha.
Okay,
let's read that. Alas, your teaching is such in whoever's ears it falls, they all attain peace. So who will not be honored to uphold your teaching?
다 깨마 세대 자 못해도 깨마 체지 때만나 강은 나위 남송와 대답담 주시 쉐제셔 진짜 제대로 뭐 숨기 근데 아니 kenangi 아니 lungu tempa ta shida sanji tempa to be tempa da lungu tempa ni yore ani lungu tempa jaya singege ko to be tempa jaya singege lungu tempa de ani ta musuju amdolo tuwa ina kowa ibana ya ani chiga diga ani nyuma ba shega tapshin jore tedi sanji chuma de kya ta muking suyore sayro.
And so it says, alas, your teaching is such, your teaching here referring to the scriptural teachings, that there's scriptural teachings and realized teachings, right? So realized teaching comes from the scriptural teachings. So you study the scriptural teaching and then you meditate and gain the realization. So that's the realized teachings, right? So anyway, it says your scriptural teaching is such that whosoever's ear it falls, and so whoever listens to that, and they all attain peace. So who would not be honored to uphold your teachings? So who would not respect your teachings?
And tembe tamchu namni de lundo tobe dande ji tenze sheba mashaba draba ko ko na yese ani tanda nzoto wana so lo yini tembe tamchu ni yore se lungo temba to tobe temba ni yore so marwa.
And so, so Vasubandhu said in the Abhidhamma Kosha that there are two kinds of teachings, the scriptural teachings and realized teachings. So realized teachings cannot be cannot be heard, right? You cannot hear the realized teachings with the ears. It's the realization. Right, in your mind. So when you say something that the teaching that you can hear, it's usually referring to the scriptural teachings.
Lama Zopa Rinpoche nangdo ani chim karo senare da tenje mambu ya sidina chuni kawana tasha gando tanju ambelo tuna ani semjela dewa tegi barwa.
So like just like Lama Zopa Rinpoche does, by what he does is that he records all the teachings and writes the mantras on the piece of paper and stick them on your cars and so forth. So by hearing them or by seeing them, it purifies the negativities and bring happiness to sentient beings. So those are like a scriptural teachings. So if you hear Buddha's scriptural teachings, and then that will pacify all the sufferings and delusions, and will bring peace in one's mind. And so there isn't any teaching of the Buddha, like scriptural teaching of the Buddha, that doesn't do that.
Okay? Teresa anen decha che chonga osada. Ani sheda che semutu wasada. Wa ani chi chado che ne ta 마치다 세다 아니 어떤 둘도 같이 담보 누가 뭐 세다 아니 슈마 산지 좀 된데 단자네 차서사 근데 제대로 지중대 부터 좀 되는 뭐 보셔머리.
So there are also these great practitioners, like those who used to have very strong afflictive emotions, like Ajata Shatru, always having the jealousy, and Angulimala, filled with hatred or anger, and Ananda, filled with lust and attachment and so forth. So they did a lot of bad things at the beginning of their life, right? But later, by hearing the scriptural teachings of the Buddha, and they became, some became arhats, some became stream winners, and some become once returned, never returned, and so forth. So this is all through the kindness of hearing the scriptural teachings of the Buddha.
Okay? 나도 투다 시시다와 공다 너무 좋아서요. 아니 나도 야부 너무 투나 아니 뭐 시시다와. 고마 아니 시시다와 가로 투다 너무 주셔 봐. 내가 셔당 공동 저도 너무 많이 시. 아니 냐면 제발는다 뭐 시시다와 용거리 셔다와 나다와 되더라.
And so usually it's said that the sign of having heard the teaching is that somebody who have become peaceful. So if you have become peaceful, then that is the sign. That's a good sign of having heard or having studied the teachings. When you study the teaching, then you become more calm, more peaceful like that. And then the good sign of having meditated, is when you have lessened, reduced the delusions. So even if you say, oh, I meditated, but if your mind doesn't happen, it's still filled with a lot of delusion, then that's not a good sign. So if your delusions have reduced from your mind, then that's a good sign of having meditated.
Okay? 대단 담도 마소야 지제도 쇼치는 야고도 쇼치는 쇼치니 뭐니만도 도와서 토나 칸이 제오시 콜라야 누르는 게 되게 마모도 또 빼는 줄에서.
So some Westerners they don't have that understanding, and so they even though they hear that they don't feel they're not like pacified, peaceful, and so forth. So there's some they speak very nicely, but then they hold very strong grudges inside. Then that's not good.
근데 나도 구시에 가세잖아 나도 구시에 가세지.
So there's a saying, there's a term for that in Tibetan. We call silky, very smooth, silky mouth.
나도
Silky.
나도 회사에서 구시에 가려 그래. 회사에서.
Yeah, so silky mouth. So usually in Tibet itself, we say the people from Lhasa are silky mouth.
근데 kancha 뭐 고트 못 해 그래.
So they have very smooth mouth, but then very harsh, mind.
들리지는 야 뭐야 말했어. 나도 주제에 구독하래. 아니 샘시시 떠와. 나시시 떠와. 리시시 떠와 이거 요래.
So the purpose of practicing Dharma, studying Dharma, is so that your mind, speech and body will be pacified or more subdued.
Okay. Pajitana, any questions? Yes.
So, I was wondering why Lama Zopa is being so humble, because didn't he become enlightened on the night that he wrote this? And yet he's saying that he, barely understands.
근데 요새 나도 또박 가서 인도에 나냐면 다 지금 근데 시시 도와요 그랬어.
Yeah, so higher the realization, more the humble. So more humble you become, when you have higher realization.
So it isn't that he just understands this. He talks about, now he's having this realization.
그럼.
그런 또 정말 또 살았어.
안 tuk세워야 된다.
또 영에 땅에 단다 뭐 쉬어줘야 단다가 고거 말아 되네 소한테 되네 가르치는 송.
다들 야도 내야서야. 야지 배도에서 송 거와.
Yeah, Elsaman he's saying that with others in the mind, right? So other beings who are like that in the mind. So not saying that he himself is like that. Of course, you have to use the term for with yourself for yourself, but then it's referring to the beings like that.
나도 미세데 빼 나자치면 미가 나자치면 소소대 따다이 something 자자라서 미간가.
So he's like saying that for ordinary being, so and then like just taking himself as the example of the ordinary being, and then he's saying that. So usually in the ordinary beings, we have so much proud. If we know a little bit, we get so much proud.
나도 태운다. 지나도 정보시네. 소소 삼로 있다네. 당연히 따다이. 안 되죠. 농축촌에 매 삼데 내가 제가 하면은 다 이거는 제가 되는 것도 발레는 것도 이제 쇼로도 와.
So, if we are honest, we can think of all the things that we know, right? And we think, oh, that is how it is. We think we know something, and then we think that's how it should be. And if someone says a little bit different from that, then we always try to defeat that, right? From every way possible, you try to defeat that.
다 된데 얘들 걸어야 다 근데 지는 거지. 지는 거지 단다 하고 문제잖아. 소소양 맞아 팽겨 그랬어.
And so then at that time, if you think about Lama Tsongkhapa, what he said, oh, even though he's very high, so he says he doesn't know. And then where am I, if you think like that, then that reduces your arrogance.
Okay? Yes.
I read this, I can see what everything you guys are saying. I read 35 as being the move, at least maybe this is the way my mind apprehended it, is that this was the past. And he's writing this was the past. The journey was long and the 36 was, but it was still worth it. Even though it took a long time and all this wasted time, but it was
Yeah,
No way.
then you love choice, right?
Yeah, you can
This
understand.
is a moment that is in the name of Hakomazos.
다 녀마서 다 그러면서 녀마
Jongema.
녀마 다 그런 단다 거다 불어도 살았다. 녀마 가서다는 가서 숨송하게 가서.
대기자 말했고, 녀마들의 정식 기자 말했어. 그 단다 하고마서 계절했어, 이제.
So it's not saying like in the past, you know. Even now I don't understand. It's like even now I understand.
녀마 하고 오면 단다 하고서 기자요 말들라.
So it's not saying like, oh, I didn't know it before and I know it now. It's not. There's no understanding like that in here.
다다도 왔어. 얘들이 하고 오면 되나. 다가들 이루지 쇼딩가 가와서 뭐 이송도.
So because of the ignorance, you know, I don't know all these things. Because all these things, because of our ignorance, I don't know all these things. But you know, even if I had this small, opportunity to study, to receive teachings from great lamas and to have the opportunity to study a little bit, is very fortunate.
Sure. Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Yes.
So this is my first night here on this Wednesday, I think. But is it possible for you to define just dependent or origination?
그래서
땡대기 가르라 그랬어. 된다. 땡대기 된다.
알레. 때문에 된다 생각이 대세 터두이나 대세 작은 배까지 가오래. 생각에 시장에 자식 말에
가르라 땡내 중앙. 땡중서 알아.
땡주세대 아니 저 나와요 말했어. 파티 찍질이야. 자대요서 파티 찍진 자대요서 그랬어.
So when we talk about dependent origination, so like originate, right, comes from something. Where does it come from? It comes by depending on something. So it doesn't come by itself. So that means like there's no independence. So it all depends on others. So there's no independently existing. That's what it means, dependent origination. In short, to explain the whole thing, we don't have enough time here now. But just in the short, it means like it is not independent. It depends on something for it to exist. So like, so the things, like the things that we can see and so forth, those things, depends on cause and condition. It depends on cause and condition for it to exist. So for example, like if somebody become angry at you, or somebody says something bad to you, and you become angry, right? So when you become angry and then you think, oh, that person said it, like by himself. But it depends on many cause and condition. Why did he say that? What made him say that? All these things. And if you think about that, then you will not maybe get that much angry. So when you don't think that, you say, oh, he said so bad things. But why did he say that? What made him say that? Maybe he's, in a deluded state and something. If you think like that, then you will not think about that. You will not get angry, But we don't think that. We think it's just independently, saying that bad things, and then, by himself, without, any cause and conditions. When we think like that, then we become angry. But so that's why. So if we understand that, then there will be no problems. So everything depends, like dependent, so independence on things. Like when you talk about tall, like the tall and short, short depends on tall, right? Tall depends on short. If there's no short, can there be a tall? No, right? If they're tall, oh, he's taller than somebody, that's why he's tall. So, somebody can be both short and tall, right? Compared to the short, he's tall. Compared to the tall, he's short, So whether he's short or tall depends, who you compare with. Yeah. It's dependent like that, depending on that. So these 5 fingers, they're different sizes, right? Different length. Which one is the tallest? Which one is the longest finger? So the middle finger is the tallest, is the longest, right? So, but it's not really tall. I mean, not really long, right? Not really long if you compare to the arm.
Okay, the tendency to go down to see the channel. Then part
Yeah, so that's just easy way of explaining the dependent origination. But then if you go into more detail or more subtle level, then it's very, very subtle.
시단 뒤에 코드 시어도 나중에 무에서 가린 바 된다 시작이 오래서.
And so, but anyway, the dependent origination is the reality. It's how things really exist. So that's what it is explained.
Okay? Okay, I think we'll stop now. Thank you.
Thank you.
도체나.
Please turn to page 39. For the Thanksgiving mandala. Saji Purvi Joshi Me Tong Trang Ri Rabling Ji Ni Te Kem Pali Sangye Jindu Mi Te Ua Yiro Unamdan Jima Shupasho Je Tsungkhapa Uteraten Jinam Kajinle Chochuge Padam Lotsan Tenley Nune Sasum Yidru Emunsel Tahatune Gyushi Idam Guru Ramangala Kaniyatayami. For my two collections, vastest space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom eye has been blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my life's Manjushri. May I find the best and completely graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhists by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings through the points of the paths as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddhist teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those whose wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddhist deeds be nourished for a long time. By even this graded course to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. In that snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig remain in life till samsara's end. Savior of the Snowland teachings and transmigratory beings, who extensively clarifies the path that unifies emptiness and compassion, to the lotus in the hand, Lord Tenzin Gyatso, I beseech, may all your holy wishes be fulfilled. Page 49, short, long-length prayer for Lama Zopa Rinpoche. You who uphold the subduous moral ray, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjuna's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplished magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. And page 57, prayers of dedication. Okay. Through this virtue page 75. Mi me tse wei te chen chen rei zi dream me kem pe wang po jong pe yang gan che ke pe su yen song kapa lo san jwa pe java so. Just a couple of announcements. Marianne was not here, but where is she? Oh, I think there was something at the prison that she volunteers at, so she had to do. But tomorrow night at 7 o'clock we have Tara Puja, and then on Saturday at 4 o'clock we have Guru Puja, and then Geshe's teaching on Sunday at 10, and then also just please be on the lookout. There'll be lots of opportunities for volunteering for Lama Zopa's visit coming in August. So, and if you, so just keep your eyes peeled. Do you have something else, Sean?
So, really important for me to be here tonight. I wanted to make sure to do this right away. Some of you were fortunate enough to participate in the teachings of the Ganten Tripa that we were so incredibly fortunate to have just happening and ending last week. And one of the things for those of you who were here, you may know, is that I made a request at the end of the last teaching to the Ganten Tripa to give us advice, okay, for the center, for our community, for myself directly, anything. And we were incredibly fortunate to receive advice from him. So if you mind passing these around. So right after the Ganten Tripa left, one of the first things that I did was I asked one of our center members, Marta, who's wonderful at transcription, and she very kindly transcribed the advice. And I want to make sure that everybody has a copy of it. As students, one of the most powerful causes, conditions that we can create is to follow the advice of our teachers, okay? And we are incredibly fortunate that we've received advice directly from the Ganten Tripa what Kurukulla Center community members can do. The advice is in this sheet of paper, and what I really wanted to impress upon you is to read it, to take the time to internalize it, and to take action on it. By following the advice, we're creating causes and conditions for us to receive more advice, okay? So if we're going to continue, and we will, continue making requests to the Ganten Tripa to come and teach again at the center, I think it's very important for us to follow the advice. Otherwise, why come, right? And the first question is going to be, what did you do the advice that I gave you last time? Nothing? Well... Okay, so I wanted to make sure that everybody had a copy of it, that you take time to read it, and then follow up with Geshe. We are so unbelievably fortunate to have Geshe here. And he's the one who can help us figure out how do we follow the advice, what things do we need to do, and guide us through to be able to do that and fulfill the advice that's been ascribed to us, okay? So really important. And I wanted to make sure that I was here on Wednesday, because many of you have been coming to classes for a long time. Many of you are very serious in your study. So it really falls to you to kind of lead within our community of students. And for those who are not here today, take the opportunity. I'm certainly not a teacher, but kind of think of it as an oral transmission today. You know, I've been around for 14 years, and I'm sharing with you. This is important. So share it with other students. Right, Deborah? This is so important for us to be sharing with everybody and making you aware of how important it is to be constantly making the requests. And then I make the broader statement of always make requests to our teachers, Geshe, okay? This is how we create the causes and conditions for them to teach. One of the things that some of you know, and I'm very open about this, is I'm not a particularly religious person. I don't consider myself particularly, which is a little odd being director of Buddhist Center. But one of the things, and it really begs the question, is like, why am I director of Kurukulla Center? Why am I here? One of the things I've always been so impressed is that the tradition is very genuine in things like, for example, not proselytizing, okay? And it's not just for our benefit. I was very impressed by the story of, there was a teaching, and maybe Geshe Damsho will remember what it was, I don't remember the name of it, but there was a teaching that it was thought that the lineage for it had been lost for many, many years, and it was Choden Rinpoche who actually held that particular transmission. But he wouldn't teach it unless and until somebody requested him to teach it. So this is very real. It's like even within the monastery, you'd figure that, oh, in monastery, let's just do whatever we want, right? No, it's like they follow that advice very, very seriously. And they will not teach unless we make a request. So it's up to us to make the requests. So the Ganden Trippa has given us direct advice to make requests to Geshe specific teachings that we need as a community. Okay? So very important for us to take that seriously and to take action. Okay? Geshe, anything to add? Any thoughts? Damson? No?
I think you already know what she said. You all hear. They will not. They said we try our best. Okay? Maybe do more practice.
Just like Geshe mentioned earlier, the sign of having studied and heard was to be more peaceful, and sign of having meditated is to have reduced the delusion.
Okay.
Not pointing at others, do it for yourself. No, Geshe is not saying that you're not doing it, you're supposed to be doing it.
Okay, that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Geshe. Damsala.